Hey, survivors, feel free to join in at any time. We are live. We are going to talk about the emotional age of our narcissist. I just did a video on that, which, if you would like a little bit more information on that, feel free to check that out because our narcissist gets stuck at a different developmental stage emotionally. And I'm finishing up my glitter nail polish. but so they get stuck at this different stage of life. And it's difficult to understand it because they're in intellect. A lot of times they're very intelligent and they sometimes can mimic what kind of emotional reaction that we would expect from an adult. And I see a couple of you joining in. I'm finishing my glitter nail polish. Feel free to tell me how your day went. My day, we had a snow day today. I'm a teacher and I'm so glad I slept. I got the notice at 5:30 this morning, and so I just decided I'm just gonna sleep till I wake up because 'cause I've been really tired lately. I slept until 4:40 PM, blew my mind. So, Mia is there, so, "Hello," she says, "Hello, sunshine, how are you?" My day went well. I didn't experience it. I slept till 4:40 PM. What is up with that? But it went good. I'm so excited about this. I got my green screen and it's 10 feet by 8.5 feet or 8 feet tall by 10.5 feet. So trying to figure out where to put it. So you're going to start seeing some cool videos. So yeah, I needed that sleep and things are going good. Can't wait to do that green screen. So how was your day, guys? Um, but the video on where somebody gave me a thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. And our, our narcissist is extremely difficult to understand because sometimes they seem adult and sometimes they throw these temper tantrums. So I hope you get a chance to check that out. Feel free to let me know how everything's going with you guys if you have any questions that you'd like to discuss. Because through the knowledge, we can really heal a lot better. And came across this one thing that this one teacher did, and it's kind of interesting and important to understand what this person was saying. Lily is here. Hello, hello, hello. Good to have you here. Got my glitter nail polish done. So I'm handicapped till it dries. But so what it was is this teacher passed out these white pieces of paper with just a single black dot on it and told the children that it's a surprise quiz. The kids are all confused, like, what? And so the teacher said, I want you to describe what you see. And so all the kids started writing things. Mia says, all is good, was a little sad yesterday. Was anniversary, oh gosh, of your son stillborn. He would have been 34. I went through some miscarriages, and that's got to be really hard. Would have been 34 though. Um, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's hard. Mia says hello to Lily, and that's part of it. We have to do our grieving process. My sister had a miscarriage, which is different than a stillborn, but she dissociated and she said she felt evil. She felt outside of her body. She considered suicide. So trauma can really affect us and we have to deal with it. Lily is saying hi to Mia. So the teacher had the kids describe, and they're like, well, it's like 3/4 of the way up, and it's, off center to the right. And they're just describing this black dot that they see. So the teacher collects the papers, and he's like, you know what? He reads out all the answers to the class, and not one of them mentioned anything about the white that was outside around the black dot. And he had said that a lot of times you're so focused on that one little thing, you forget everything that's on the outside. So when we're going through our rumination, we are focused on that black dot. That black dot is our narcissist or our relationship. And we forget about the people around us. We forget about our goals, our health. And we have to remember that our life is a lot bigger than just that black dot. So even with different grieving things, if we focus on that one little thing, we miss out on our life. So I thought that was pretty powerful. But with the narcissist throwing temper tantrums and yelling back and hitting and biting. I hope you guys get a chance to watch that. It'll give you a little check mark. It goes all the way up until the age of 18 for the development. So you can kind of see where your narcissist is stuck at, because they have to discard, because around um, high school, they start branching out, they start breaking free into being an adult. But the narcissist didn't have that chance to go through all the stages. So they are l- like developmentally needing that break free. And so that's why they continually discard, because they're trying to break free. And it's really sad that they use a relationship, because we want somebody, they do say that you kind of want the comfort that you had as a child, which makes sense. But what the narcissist needs is they need to finish that cycle, and they just don't. And it's not fulfilling enough when they do go through it. So I know you said you were a little sad today. What was yesterday? Were you able to deal with that yesterday? Sometimes if we have a positive look, um, that hopefully we'll see him again, or, uh, yeah, yeah. I got my neighbor asking if I'm busy tomorrow morning. I know that means he wants a ride at like 4 in the morning. So Mia says, thank you, Lily. I appreciate you saying that. Um, because she says, so sorry, Mia, devastating. And it is devastating. You look forward to things and you plan, and it's it's a devastating loss. You feel like you never got to experience it, something you look forward to. And a lot of us too, not trying to discount what you went through, but even in our relationships, we never really got to truly experience it because it wasn't real. Um, 34, mine would have been 14, 14 coming up, or 15 coming up. So, yeah, lots of love to you. I know that's hard. Um, I know, I don't know if John's here yet. Calibri is here. Hello, hello to everyone, and hi to you, Cynthia. I reached out to somebody uh, that has the same name as me. Cynthia Sue Schiller. She spells it with a C, and she's a psychologist, and I kind of want to interview her. She deals with narcissistic abuse. Ironically, my sister, her name is that lady's middle name. So I think it's kind of cool. Hopefully she'll let me interview her. She's from Indiana. John says hello to everyone. Yes, you are late. You missed my black dot explanation, analogy, whatever you want to call it. But we're welcome to, or glad to have you here. And um you're working on a go-kart motor assembly. Very cool. Mia says, no one can truly understand the loss of a child, unconsolable, but you have to learn to move on. Yeah, I often think too with my miscarriages, I didn't know if they were a boy or a girl, and it was early on. Um, and there's my sister's friend had lost a baby, and they only had it, I can't remember, just like an hour to 3 hours. It was alive, and they were able to spend just that little time. um and I wonder, I think a stillborn would have been harder than a miscarriage, but lots of love to you guys. Kalibi says hi to John. Mia says hello, John. John says same goes for a pet. Doing better. Yeah, you lost a pet too. There's a lot of ups and downs in our lives where, we have to remember that. It's that yin yang where you get a little bit of good with a lot of bad, and other times a lot of good with a little bit of bad. So it's a cycle of life. Um, And that's why when we're down, we have to remember it's gonna cycle back up. Mia says, "Hello to K Flyer." John says, "I'm glad you saw the tribute to April Hamster." She's getting some views, isn't she? I think you said 29 at the last, I saw, and I'm sure she's gonna get more. Kalibi says, "Oh, you just made a quiche loaf with spinach." Oh, I don't even Boursin? Is it Boursin cheese? I don't even know what that is, but it's cheese, so I'm sure it's delicious. I know what applewood ham is. I hope I could share it with you. Oh, I w I'm about to give my address out worldwide publicly 'cause and spinach, that sounds so good. I think I know what Boursin cheese kinda is because 'cause I've had quiche. Mia says, Kalibi says, "Hi to Mia." Mia says, "Yes, John, it was very lovely." So, yeah, Mia saw it, and yeah, she did. There's a couple people from the, channel that have seen it, and that's what I'm saying, we're growing the channel and you know, okay, he wants me to help babysit his kids tomorrow. They're old enough. How long ago how long ago did I start the meeting today? 12 minutes. Not too long. Not too long if that's what you're asking. So we just got started. We know that Kaliri had the most delicious meal. I haven't had quiche in a while. I know. Stop making me hungry. Tomorrow is grocery shopping day. We had that snow day. So I had my salad, but it only had bacon bits, nothing else with it. Yeah, so you didn't miss too much. How's it going with you? Mia says, "Flyer stop, please. It sounds so good. Please enjoy." And that's the thing. Yeah, it's like me. I had pretzel chips. You guys have all these delicious foods. I'm having a friend come over on Sunday, and I'll be cooking Sunday. So tune in Sunday and I'll tell you what I made. Mia says hello to Debbie and hi back at you, Mia, says Debbie. Um, so, you know, I, I came across a friend's post about narcissistic abuse and she's like, whoa, I didn't realize the brain damage that they have. We have to remember that they cause brain damage in us. And that's why the healing process, um, has to take place and we have to take charge of it. Different little things that we can change. I don't know if you guys saw my rose video where I rose above narcissistic abuse, where little changes in our wording, our self-talk really make a difference instead of um like an insecure kind of statement, like I hope that I'll get through this. I will get through this. Have more affirmative statements when it comes to you and that self-talk can really change the direction. Um, Day 2, not talking to the narc teenager. Oh, you got a narc teenager. This is the thing. Teenagers go through stages. They're still trying to come through. Is this your child? Teenagers are really difficult. It's a difficult time. You are trying to respect their need to grow and also the need to follow rules. What's going on with the little one, the big little one? Uh, hmm. Because to be a narcissist, they don't normally diagnose that until age 18 because that is typically a gateway time, I guess. So they either come through it or they don't. Yes, I see the narc as a teenager. Is it so are you saying no? John, no spanking. Mm. I know they say spare the rod, spoil the child. I had it with my ex. He was so strong, could bench 550 pounds, had a 56-inch chest, and into bodybuilding. And we just had the rule not to spank because sometimes aggressions can make people not realize how strong they are. But there should be consequences for bad behavior. Um, Oops. John, spank yourself. And, I used to play a game with my daughter where I never spanked her, but I would bend over her. I'd bend over her and I'd hold her and I went to spank her and I'd accidentally hit myself. And, she thought it was funny. Any little silly things, but she never got spanked. Um, she turned out good. Debbie says, my son has narc tendencies, but I'm talking about the narc. He's so immature. Okay. All right. Oh, teenage. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Lily says, hi. Sorry. I can't blame it on being tired. I slept till 4:40 p.m. That's insane. Sleeping that much. Sometimes our bodies just need it. I do that. I go through cycles where like every 3 months I crash for a whole weekend sometimes. Like the whole weekend. That I'm thinking about going gluten free. I told you that my brother overcame hyperthyroidism by going gluten free, and my pulse is real high, and that can make you really tired. My pulse goes from like 90 to 120 at resting, and that's not too good. So that does wear you down. Plus, post COVID, long haul, and also I had mono in 10th grade, so it still wears me out. I'm a little tired one. And I'm also high energy, so I think I use up all the energy I met. Um, he's so immature. Yes, that's hard to deal with. Lily says, hi to Calibri, John, and Debbie. I think you mean, yeah. Yeah, so it took me a minute. But yes, Lily. Thank you, Debbie. Sorry, it took me a little bit. Calibri says, no narc sightings today. What a relief. Yep. Some days, the good and the bad days, you know. So good. You have a day that they give you a little bit of a break. Lily says, oh, sorry, Debbie. I just saw your son. My daughter, too, sometimes she's 16, hopefully is teenage stuff and will pass. A lot of times it does. Anywhere from 23 to 26, they're going to love you again. um, and they do love you. It's just a time in their life. It's pretty confusing. You know, they're at that teeter totter stage. Do I stay where it's safe or do I branch out and start planning my life? And it can be quite overwhelming, plus temptations that are going on, trying to fit in, and the changes in their bodies and also their hormones affect them. You know, sometimes it's like, why am I crying? And they don't realize it's their hormones. John says, me either. Calibri. Mia says, that's good, K Flyer. Narc free today. Lily says, oh, yes, the narc. LOL. Yes, ex narc was an immature idiot too. um, and that's why, you know, sometimes looking back, like, why'd they throw a fit or why did they lie? Like, they lie over things they don't need to. And it's sometimes it's boredom, you know, it's really weird. Debbie says, my son is now 33, but he had a therapist. Now he's a recovering heroin addict. Oh, how's he doing with that? Um, thank God recovering. Yeah, because they, you know, addictions are really hard to overcome. And that's why a therapist can help them keep accountable, help them keep them on track, have them to have something to go to when they're dealing with things. How long was he an addict for? And yeah, we had where my daughter went to school, a couple of her classmates had some heroin overdoses. One girl, she had 3 times the amount, and um, it's sad what people go through. So, is he recovering at home, or is he he's in prison? He overdosed. He will be out this November. Um, okay, so saying some prayers for him. Hopefully, they're doing some therapy type stuff with him in prison. And that's the thing, you know, prison versus an institution. You know, do they get the mental help that they need? Um, you know, because I'm assuming it can be quite traumatic being in prison. So that's adding more fuel to the fire when they get out. Now they have a felony possibly on them, and trying to find a job can be more difficult. I noticed down the street they have felony friendly, so they're starting to make it easier on people. No. Ooh, that's not good. Mia says, Debbie, praying that your son will continue with the recovery. Yes. We all are. Keep us posted on how that goes. And, you know, family support can really help somebody in their recovery. Uh, I corrected it for you. Yeah, I know. I figured you knew it was he because you said son. So We gave you some grace on that one. Kalibi says fentanyl overdose is so rampant here in Seattle. We also have meth problems. And that's the thing, I don't understand why people lace it with fentanyl or like even just touching it. Like you almost nothing and it can kill you. Um that fentanyl is scary. That it's kind of like so rampant. I don't understand why people, unless they're in the addiction phase, I don't understand why people even risk it anymore. Found, I think, what was it? Like there was a drug bust recently. There was enough fentanyl to kill everybody. I think in the United States. I don't think it was worldwide, but could have been. It was like this vast amount, and it's like, well, probably doesn't have to be that big of an amount, but yeah, you just touch it and it can kill you. That's scary. Like, why even mess with cutting it? I don't understand that. I guess maybe it's supposed to make the high better, but like how microscopic. Oh, that's so scary. Debbie says he has God and he knows better. He has no trouble getting a job. He came from a good family. That's good. Yeah, sometimes too, good people just get caught in the bad trap. There's homeless people who just, you know, something happened or people sometimes either were injected without them even knowing or laced things or they go through certain pain, physical or maybe emotional. They try it or they want to fit in. Um, so God definitely helps. And Mia says, K Flyer is so heartbreaking. Look up videos for Kingston, Philly, PA zombie. Pennsylvania zombies? Philly. Okay. Yeah, Philly. It's so scary. Kingston, Philly. Huh. I want to look that up too. So Debbie says he has 2 kids, 6 and 11, and a girlfriend. So that's good. Hopefully that'll be some motivation for him. A lot of times too, motivation helps in the healing process, because like I said, it keeps you accountable, it gives you a purpose. And John says it's like LSD. If you hold it in your hand, it can be absorbed into your skin. Really? I didn't know that about LSD. Oh gosh. Even just hold it in your hand. Mia says K Flyer, they walk around like zombies. It's so heartbreaking. Girlfriend of 12 years. That's good that she stuck it out. And those kids, that's great. So you're a grandma. Me too. Kalibi says a good reason that I stay home once the sun sets. Most neighbors here change when it gets dark. The freaks come out at night. I'm making my microphone. It's right there. I'll sing for you guys. And they do. My degree is in criminal justice, even though I'm a teacher. But yeah, there's a lot more crime at night and also during the summer. Um, and it's interesting. Yeah, people are more risky at night. It's kind of like um, either the boredom of the day or temptation. That's why I keep them busy. That's why school clubs are really good. Keeps kids busy after school so they don't get into trouble. Debbie says, I saw him high and it was quite disturbing. I called 911. What was he doing when he was high? Just not acting right, or was he violent? There's different kinds of reactions that people have that sometimes it's extremely scary. And that's the thing, like for the most part, I'm not really afraid of people, but people who are either drunk or high scare me because they mind takes over. Their their brain communicates differently. He was passed out in the bathroom. Okay. My sister's asking, I don't know, guys, how is my eye? I think my eye's a little bit better. My physician's assistant sister, he was passed out. And I don't know how they saved them, but they do. There's medical miracles. Mia says to K Flyer, sorry, this is my sister. Um, thank God it's a few countries over from me. Yeah, and Americans, I don't know what we're doing. Uh, we have one of the highest mental health illness issues. We got, drugs and gun violence, and it's a crazy world, and there's a lot of trauma just, you know, just listening to the news sometimes. Mia says, K-Flyer. Yes. Lily says, gosh, Debbie, so hard. Most do come from good families. Guys got to walk dog with neighbor. So we'll tune in soon. All right. Go enjoy that walk. Stay safe. And I like that you're doing it together with your neighbor. So Dog Defender reached out and she's still struggling with that 8-day, maybe 9-day now, severe headache. We're hoping she's going to get better. But um, across the board, you see people reacting in so many similar ways. How many people are dealing with narcissistic abuse? I was scrolling through Facebook today and everybody was like, screw this person, screw that, narcissistic abuse, da 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 da. And it's almost like everybody is saying that they've dealt with a narcissist. We all do have narcissistic tendencies at times, and we'll talk about that in a second. Um, Debbie says, I wanted to text the narc today, but I held back. I just didn't want to go back on my word. He has such a hold on me. And they do. We get stuck. Debbie, I'm not sure if you were here when I talked about that. Teacher gave that one paper with that black dot on it, asked the kids to describe it, and they just focused on the black dot. Nobody focused on the white of the paper. And that's like the majority of it, and they just focused on that. Sometimes we get stuck on that one part of our life and we miss out on everything. Um, so I'm proud of you for holding back. That's hard to do sometimes. And we have to think, what's the purpose of reaching out? That's our survival mode when we don't know how to cope with our emotions. We have to think of it. Is it going to make things better? It might give us a quick little dopamine hit if they text us back, but we are risking going further down into depression because they don't reach back. Narcissists love to play games like that. So you didn't get that hit of destruction. So that'll help you stay on track to rebuilding your life. Each of those hits brings you down more and more, and it starts messing with your self-esteem, and then you're going to react to people differently and not feel yourself. Mia says, be safe, Lily. John says, good job, Debbie. Keep up the good work. We are proud of you. And Debbie says, when I did reach out, I gained absolutely nothing. Yeah. And uh, it's hurting yourself doing that. And I hope that makes sense on how it hurts you. Because you can be like, I don't know, we'll just see. Hopefully they'll but it hits hard. It does hit hard when we don't hit back. So that's another hit we took when we wanted to feel better. So by wanting to feel better, we feel worse. And we don't want to keep doing that to ourselves. You know, um, if it's meant to be, they'll reach out to us, and will they change, But after so many hits, we have to be like, I gotta heal. I gotta heal. And Kalibi says, of course I didn't get invited. I could hear, oh, we're not inviting Mr. Squarepants. I guess that's me, LOL. He's famous, SpongeBob. Mr. Squarepants, do they call you that? Oh, well, Mr. Squarepants. Okay. All right. Is your underwear square too? I just, my Myth America. I just came across this. I don't know if it's appropriate, so I'll be quiet. Um, yeah, I got another myth buster. So, uh, Clibby says, because I don't drink, smoke, and do drugs. I am plain and simple. Isn't that funny that you're the crazy one because you live a clean life? That's what society's coming to. And I told you that one thing too, though, is what's becoming the norm. The norm is, people discarding people left and right. Nobody's learning how to work through problems. Nobody is perfect. And I think the expectations that are sober. Yep. healthier. I don't have to worry about the extra calories or confusion. It affects your brain. Your brain activity is affected. So sometimes it can bring you down depression, rabbit hole, or um, lack of impulse control. So Debbie says he told me a year ago that he's not changing for anyone. I've never asked him to change because that's one thing he can't blame me for. I rarely drink. I've never done drugs. My daughter either. And yeah, they don't want to change. I started thinking about it a little bit more on how we want to relate to our parents, or we're missing out on our childhood in a sense. And so we want to find a mate that brings us back to that. Why does a narcissist not want to change now? Why is it everything that they want to do, they don't care about us? And I've been thinking about how their relationship with their allowed to do whatever, when they were teenagers, and they had to do whatever if their parents were not paying attention to them. So they're used to doing their own thing, and we try to have them compromise. Some of them cannot compromise. Some can, some can't. Kalibi says, just like tonight, I've enjoyed putting together my quiche loaf. Cooking is my passion. Now, when you say quiche loaf, is that like in um, like a bread pan type thing? I have like a casserole dish that's similar to a bread pan. Like, so there's no crust, or is there still crust with it? Because I love quiche. Sounds so good. Cooking, I could tell cooking's your passion. John says, I'm cutting smoking out and hardly drink anymore. And you're going to feel better about it. Things are going to smell better, taste better. And Calibri says, good for you, John. More power to you. Okay. Oh, no crust. I should try that. Even though I love the crust. Yeah, I'd rather do that because I think that's healthier. I was really tempted to use my bread machine today. Mia says, "That's okay, K-Flyer. I am Miss SquarePants. Nice to meet you." Are you Miss Square Skirt or Miss Square Pants? I'm so glad women are allowed to wear pants. They're easier. I had this one. I've never told you guys this story. When my daughter was in kindergarten, I went to pick her up from school, and I wore a full A-length uh or no, it was pretty straight. It wasn't A length. It was pretty straight, a straight down sundress. And the wind, I'm 6'1", so this dress skirt is so long. But I reached over to buckle her in. I'm in between two cars, but the bus is right here. As I lean over, some gust of wind picks it up, brings my um dress skirt over my shoulders and hooks onto my shoulders. And I'm all bent over in a thong with like everybody getting on the bus and all the parents. Yeah, that was an embarrassing day. But but literally. Um Mia says that's okay, K Flyer. I am Miss SquarePants. Yep. And that's me too. Mia says that's good. John, one day at a time. And that's the thing, we got to say, you said it. I'm proud of you, John. Looking at the way you said, I'm cutting smoking out. Not, I hope to, or, you know, I'm going to try. You good for you. Your mind's made up, so you can do it. You're saying it the right way. Kalibi says, oh, it's my brand since high school. I stand out not joining in parties where alcohol and drugs are served. I've always been the designated driver. I uh, had just gotten pregnant when I turned 21, so I didn't drink. Never really wanted to. Always on a diet, so I didn't really want the calories. But then after my daughter was born, I even if I had a designated driver that could bring me home, and I always wanted, if I had to take my daughter to the doctor's, the ER or something, or react to something, I always wanted to be able to. And then it's just, why bother? Um, and you'll save a lot of money that way. I do have some wine now. I've only been drinking like 2 years, but helps me sleep. Um, but just, every now and then if I want it. But yeah, I'm not a drinker. I don't, if I go to the bar with you right now, even though I drink wine every now, I won't get anything. I'll get a Diet Coke. And I do that at parties too. So yeah, be safe out there, Thank you guys for those thumbs up. Feel free to let me know what topics you guys would like to talk about. We talked about the emotional state that they just get stuck in it. And the brain is just not developed. They miss that developmental time. And Kalibi says, just imagine alcohol and drugs affecting liver, pancreas, and plaque in the veins. I told you my neighbor, he's 32 years old, and this year he's been in twice for pancreatitis. Extremely painful. So good for him. He has stopped drinking for 2 months now. That's how serious it got to where it snapped him into my life is at risk. So he didn't follow through the first time he got out of the hospital. And then he's kind of like, whoa, he's lucky he had a second chance on that. Somebody else gave me a thumbs up. You guys make me happy. The games those narcs play. Yep. They're stuck in that playtime. Mia says that's good. K Fly. I was never invited, but then yeah, so it was easier. But then again, I grew up in a different era. Things were not too out of hand. I agree. And I don't know what's up with my throat today. Mia said there's a strep throat going around. Hopefully, I don't have that. Mia says, K Flyer, I lost a good friend to cirrhosis of the liver, and they were probably fairly young too. You know, uh, the things we do to our bodies, you know. Kalibi says, Mia, I came from a different generation, and I think it helps me so much to be sane and stay healthy. And I keep asking the elders in my life, even though I'm 52, how much has life changed? Because for me, it seems like things have changed a lot since I was growing up. And it's kind of like, was I just naive, sheltered? Now that the news is more vast worldwide, but not to mention the death from excessive use. And sometimes too, it's only, well, with alcohol, but sometimes too, drugs, it can be one and done. That is playing Russian roulette. And John says, I hate bars. Well, are you talking about prison bars? Candy bars? Yes, I know you were talking about the nightclubs. So yeah, it's a meat market out there. Mia says, wouldn't stop drinking, quit heroin, took up drinking. Sad. He was a really good cook. We need some more good cooks in here. Um, yeah, when they quit something, it's all been replaced with something different. A lot of people are like that. There's gateway drugs, and then there's also change. Some people either continue on the path, or they can quit drinking, then they'll smoke pot, or if they smoke pot, then they drink more beer or smoke more cigarettes, or find some other kind of addictive thing. Sometimes it's even exercise. They can become addicted to that, or addicted to dieting, or addicted to work. Um, John says a good friend in our complex died of heart failure 2 years ago from excessive crack and weed and alcohol use. He was a good man. He's gone now. And sometimes too, there are good people. They just get caught up in this cycle of addiction, and it's really sad. They hurt so many people. They hurt themselves, and so much wasted money, wasted opportunity. Kalibi says, yes, Mia, heroin is a big problem too here. Lots of young people get into problems using them. And okay, John says his wife passed away and he couldn't deal with it. It's trauma, I just saw something about Chris Como that surprised me. Now, he had said that when he was going through everything he went through, he was so frustrated. He was thinking about killing everyone, even himself, that people freak out on loss, status. Debbie says they got caught up with the wrong friends. That happens a lot. That's why be careful with the people you hang out with. Um, that the five people closest to you are who you kind of conform to, and they can get in your head. It's hard to fight certain things off. Especially if you start drinking, your decisions are going to be different. Sometimes one hit and you're addicted. Mia says, K Flyer, things were different back in the good old days. We really didn't get out of hand. Parents were too strict. Thank God for that. Yes, the parents were stricter, and they kept tabs on us, and we had to ask permission instead of, yeah. Kalibi says that's what you call people pleasing, to be involved with alcoholics and druggies, peer pressure. Yeah, yep. Um, that's to feel that you're liked. You'll do certain things against your will or who you are, um, because, well, you have to do that against your. I think guys know what I mean. Debbie says, I told my son to stop being a follower, be like me, and stand up and be a leader. And there's a lot of followers out there. A lot of people don't see their potential to be a leader. It's easier to follow. It's easier to follow, harder to lead. And John says, I agree, Debbie. I'll be more like you. And role models can be great that way too. You have to choose the right role models. Mia says, no, this was a friend in my older years I had met by chance. Beautiful soul, just he had a tough life from a different country. Yeah. People try to soothe their pain, a difficult life. They're going to try to soothe it. Kalibi says, in parties, they'll start you with a glass of wine and it gets heavier later on. Narcs will do that too. They will purposely try to get you drunk or high to take advantage of you. And I know that for a fact, that they'll even admit to that sometimes. And you'll see it too, that they're trying to push things on you. Kalibi says, oh, I'm sorry, and it does get heavier later on. John says, I'm not easily swayed by people. I'm into doing stupid things. You seem like a pretty strong person though, very caring, but also, yeah, you know what to do and what not to do. So, um, staying true to ourselves is extremely important. So, Debbie says the narc was helping me with money for my son, things that needed to be paid, but I paid the narc back every single time. And that's, it's okay to borrow money, but we need to pay it back. And I'm glad you did that. Then the narcissist often will just use it and not pay you back. There are narcissists that do pay back. So that's something to remember. But a lot of times, too, if there's a breakup or a fallout in the relationship, that money's gone. So be careful not to loan out anything more that you're willing to lose, because it's always a risk. So that's nice that they did help you out and that you paid them back. John says, I'll walk away from it. Yeah, from the temptations, easier just to stay away. Plus, you don't want to get in trouble that somehow, cops might come by or whatever, and now you're caught up in this terrible situation or a fight breaks out. So good for you, John. Mia says, as a kid, I would have been dead if I ever hung out with druggies. My dad was strict. He had ruled no drugs, no marriage, no drinking. My parents never drank ever. So, what was it? Now, when you say no marriage, what? At a young age is what you're saying? Um, so yeah, sometimes it's easier when our parents don't drink. My parents really didn't drink. My mom's allergic to alcohol. My dad, um, had a few beers here and there when I was growing up. Not much, but yeah, as an adult, really didn't. And I think in the last 40 years, I think he had maybe 2 beers at all the gatherings, and I lived with him too, and it was never anything he really craved. Kalibi says, I'd say thank God to good parenting. They might be strict, however, they have good, reliable knowledge. Yes, my parents were strict. They were a little too strict because I'm very naive and too naive. So it's good to be strict, but not too much. There's a tough balance. Mia says, no going out and getting pregnant or elopement. My parents are Catholic. Yep. So, yeah, they laid down the rules and you're like, okay. Debbie says, mine too. No drinking, no smoking. Yep. Did you guys grow up with that tough love where you screw up, you're gone, they'll kick you out? So, I, I think that has to be used
if you're dealing with your kids, you have to use that in a very cautious way. It's going to work with some kids and it's not going to work with others. I didn't agree with that. Um, but if your kid's like doing drugs and violent and has guns and all that stuff, it might be safe to kick them out. But if they're struggling with something, partying too much on the weekends, to kick them out, they're just gonna, um, possibly use their body for money. And it, I think it can be quite dangerous playing with that. Get them help instead. Talk it through. Debbie says, I grew up to a spoiled brat. LOL. I know, princess. Talking about princess, there's this one little girl. She threw a fit. Um, she said, I'm a princess. My grandma calls me a princess. And this one kid's like, you're not a princess. She's like, yes, I am. And she's just, yes, I like started freaking out. Identity is important. She's like, my grandma said I'm a princess. And oh, she's high anxiety anyways, but, that's why don't let anybody take your identity away, Uh, be confident in yourself. Kalibi says, growing up, I was taught honesty, accountability, responsible, hard work, keep up with my studies. I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Manila. Ooh, very interesting. Um, yeah, and it helps when we're taught it. It helps when we're taught it as opposed to struggling, seeing different things that we're not quite sure will work or won't work, and having the opportunities to implement it. Mia says, my mom was going to be a nun before she met my dad, so real strict. No makeup, no pantyhose, aka nylons. I call them pantyhose too. There was a list of things: no legs shaved, no right clothes, probably no bikinis. Um, yeah, I didn't have my first bikini. I was 10, or no, 14 when I had my first bikini, 14. Started with the monokinis as high school, but, yeah, strict. Um, I couldn't use I couldn't use hairspray. I couldn't use aerosol things because my dad was like the world representative for Ford for air quality control, and yeah, my 80s hairdo had to be aerosol or non-aerosol because we couldn't contribute to the hole in the ozone. Mia said, tight clothes, this phone. Oh, tight clothes. That's all right. We're having fun. So she's not a narcissist. She's not playing games with us. It's just her phone. Oh, yeah. My little type pad's really small too. Debbie says parents had money. My mom had me at 47. That's fantastic. You're like gross. I'm like, oh, it's only because I had a miscarriage at 38 and I still wanted a baby. Did she really? And we're all like that. It doesn't matter what age mom was. You did that at that age. My dad had a stroke, and my mom's brother helped her start her own school bus company. Uh, That's cool. That was my life growing up. Uh, well, I was a hussy then. Hairspray was for hussies, my dad would say. But even in the 80s. And Mia says, wow, Debbie, that's cool. So it is cool. Oh, I wish I could have had another child, you know? Gosh. Yeah, I love it. That's gross. Kalibi says, where we are now is a product of how our parents guided us to our adult life. Age, thanks to mom and dad. You're right. And Mia says, no, you were not. You're an angel. Thank you. I was not a hussy. Yeah, a virgin hussy. How's that? So thank you. Um, yeah. And being 6'1", hair up to here, what were we thinking? And then on top of it, I told you in nursing school, because of my high arches, I had like wedge heels for my nursing school shoes, so that added 3 inches to me. Plus, I had that nursing hat. Like, I look like a giant, 6'7", 6'8". By the time everything was all said and done, but thank you. Mia says I'm a doll. Thank you. A doll baby. You guys are sweet. So, I wanna thank you guys for all the support that you've given me as well, because it takes a while to get back to being yourself and talking through things. I did that one video, I don't know if you saw that, it was a shorts, and with this ruminating thoughts that keep popping into our head that, that we have to process them. 'Em. They're gonna keep coming back, and, it's our mind saying, "We gotta get through this. We gotta think about it. We gotta process it. We have to accept it." So, it's your body telling you that you need to take a moment and, you know, process things, grieve it, and accept what is, and change what you can and accept what you can't. And it's hard though because sometimes we still see potential, but the potential is off of something that isn't real, you know? Mia says, "In my day, we had those marshmallow shoes." I'm old. It's kinda like that, I think. Well, I see what you're saying. No, I know what you're talking about now. Yes. Um, they were comfortable though, weren't they? You're not old. You're close to my age, aren't you? I don't know how old you are, I'm guessing. Kalibi says, "I guess you remember in the '80s." Yes. Oh, the perm just to get wavy, thicker hair. Yes, but this is the thing. I had a perm from Bo Ricks, and they had the solution. What you're supposed. I also went to cosmetology. I told you guys I have so much schooling. I'm a licensed nail tech. You can't tell, but um, yeah, we could talk about anything. I've taken everything. But anyways, what happens is when you get a perm, they put the rods in, and then as it's processing, your cuticle is opening up. And then, you close the cuticle back down to keep your hair healthy. So, when you have the developer on, your cuticles are open and then they close. But they had this one perm that they didn't rinse out the developer enough. And so it was like stuck and sealed into my hair. So every time I took a shower, my cuticles would open up a little bit, but it smelled like rotten eggs. And it lasted like 8 months. Like I didn't want to go swimming because my cuticles would open up. That was horrible. That smell did not come out of your hair. Like it wasn't bad. Just in general, but anytime you got it wet, it smelled like rotten eggs. It was horrible. Worst perm solution ever. Mia says flyer. Yes, but that was too much. And it could have been avoided if they rinsed it out. So thanks to my hairdresser. K Flyer says yes, but that was too much money. We had to pin curl our hair. Oh, I forgot about dippity doo. Dippity Uh, oh, yeah. I forgot about that stuff, and the pin curls, those are kinda hard to do. That's why you, like, swirl it into it like a do you twist it first? I'm trying to remember. I did pin curls, you twist it. Yeah, you twist it, and then it starts, like, curling, and then you clip it and let it dry. Kalibi says, "And admittedly, during my younger years, in my 20s, I had a perm or 2. Also, a weird idea came into mind, getting my hair tinted blonde. Oh my god, what was I thinking? There was a lot of that, yep, and a lot of people too, ended up having red hair because the red pulled. You remember pin curls. Yep, I remember that from nursing or, cosmetology. Yeah, I didn't wear the pin curls, but yeah, all the I did the bendable things where you take those rods and you roll it and then you bend them over. Those plastic things, those are pretty good. Also the rags you roll your hair up with, rag scraps. My mom did the Tropicana. Yeah, the big curls with the Tropicana. And then you clip onto the frozen concentrate. So I missed my comment up there in the green. About I see the pin curls. Let me scroll up. Oh, I did. They sold Christmas trees at Christmas. Thank you. If I ever miss something, you guys are free to tell me. Um, I try not to miss things. Debbie says they sold Christmas trees at Christmas. It was a cool life. 80 buses in our yard, but I had lots of abuse going on. Older sister played mind games and lots of gaslighting. And can I ask you something? Were you more the favorite? Just out of curiosity. Um, everybody is different, different needs, and She was the older sister, so, she might have resented you for when you were born. How many years in between you guys? Because her life changed the day you were born. Um, and, it's a trauma. It's a blessing, but some people see it as a trauma because something is taken away from them. 100% attention from the parents to now I gotta share, even though it is such a blessing. I got 2 sisters, and I wish I spent more time with them growing up. Sponge rollers came out of glory days, but hurt when you slept. Oh, with you're talking sponge rollers. Yeah, sometimes it could, but do you remember the ones with like the hair? They had black and pink ones, but they had little hairs. So as you're rolling it, it had little hairs that would kind of catch on. Um, and those could get tangled in your hair really bad. Debbie says Sherry was the oldest, 15 years. Barb came next. She was always at college. Okay, so yeah, if there's 15 years apart. Oh, so how many years between you and Sherry? Wait, no. Well, which one was talking about? I don't know which one was the one that was hard on you. Um, hmm. But yeah, the sleeping on it was the hardest part. So you wanna be all pretty for the next morning and you go to sleep and you can't sleep. So you look all rough. Um, but yeah, siblings, there can be, abuse between siblings, and it can be quite devastating. My brother didn't talk to me for a couple years and didn't even tell me why. It's because I was annoying, and I was too bubbly and too happy and too loud. I was just a silly little teenage girl, and he thought I was smarter than that. I was like, oh, and he didn't like it. He liked his attention and didn't want me to revel in my moments with my friends, and he just wanted to control me. So, uh, Debbie says Dave was in the Navy, but when he was younger, he was 8. Oh, that was Dave. Okay, I saw the DAC. Dave was in the Navy, but when he was younger, he was 8 years older. He's still 8 years older. He hurt me so much. My therapist said, "Oh, oh wow, Deb." Um, and it's interesting he went into the Navy too, because sometimes people who struggle, they want to have control over things, that they'll go into certain professions, and it can be quite high in the Army and the Navy. Um, and I think it's stronger in the Navy too. Oh, I'm so sorry you went through that. And a lot of times too, we overlook abuse because sadly, it's what we're used to. Even though we don't want it, we, don't deserve to be treated that way, that we overlook things sometimes. I love you, Debbie. Do I feel some anger? So I feel you though. Debbie says Sherry is now 82-year-old hag. I read it. I didn't write it. Barb 81, Dave is 75, and me at 67. It seems you have more anger towards Sherry though, because Dave almost took your life, according to your psychiatrist. I don't remember the word you used. Therapist. Um, who do you have more anger towards? And sometimes, if Sherry is more emotionally abusive, that emotional abuse sometimes is lifelong, and both of them. Okay, I wasn't sure if you had more anger towards one or over the other, because physical abuse we heal from sometimes. A broken arm, things like that. It depends on how much the trauma hits us, and how much we relate it to emotions. But yeah, you went through some stuff. John says, "My sister was born 6 years after me." How did you guys get along? You wrote a story about your family. For, publication is what you're saying? You wrote a story about them? Kalibi says, "Thanks, Mia. I used to wear those bell bottoms, platform shoes back in the '70s." Yes, I was a young girl in the '70s. I was born in '70, and we had, the bell bottom Garanimals. Who remembers Garanimals? I didn't get platform shoes, though. What the heck? I got moon boots. I think that was in the yeah, that was late yeah, like 79, 78, 79. John says, "We really didn't get along until we got older." And that's common. That is common, especially boy girl. Um, because 'cause you're so different, different desires. So tell me about this story. Kalibi says, "You remember those pants called hipsters." Yep. Yep, and then they also I don't remember ever wearing elephant bells, which are super huge, huge. Um, I like the hipsters. I like the hipsters. And I'm so mad, like, I'm having trauma from these high waist pants. I hate them. I hate them. I like the low waist. It took me forever to like them or to try them, and I hate I hate high-waisted pants. They depress me, and I can't find low-waisted. Um, yeah, I hate them. I hate them. Like, I hate them. And you can't find it. Plus me being 6'1", I can't find pants in general. Um, so I'm thinking tomorrow I might go resailing just because I want my low waist. Mia says, "I remember bell bottoms and platform shoes and those peasant blouses." Yep, I remember that too. And I'll tell you what, if you guys ever wear high heels, platforms really make a difference. They can make it a lot more comfortable. You can wear pretty high heels with it changes the angle of your foot. It lets it be a little bit more comfortable. John says, I got the headlight frame finish for the go-kart. It's pretty bright. That's cool. Good for you. A lot of work. You're doing a lot of work. John, um, you're gonna be our set designer for when we do our live, convention. 5,000 subscribers, and we'll go live somehow in person. And Debbie says, "No, it's a doc on my phone. My therapist said it's a good story, but a sad one. I'm a great writer, but suck at spelling." I just had to read Wonder, which is a very popular book in the school system. And I was substitute teaching. I'm the art teacher, but when we need to be called for emergency situations, I sub in the classroom. My goodness, that used no capital letters for proper nouns, which are names and like places and um, that are named states, things like that. Uh, no capitalizations, a punctuation. There was no quotation marks. Um, a lot of misspellings. I'm like, this is like a super huge book and, it's been around for at least 5 years, 4 and a half, 5 years, and they pushed it at the schools that, they had the Wonder Project and is a huge seller. They're still using it today, and it's in the grade schools with no not proper punctuation and misspelling, so, you can either have somebody spell check it or retype it or just say, "Screw it. I have a wonder book." People are gonna have to deal with it. And that's the thing too, like, we're changing as the way we communicate. Uh, John's if it's a good story, you might wanna sell it. You might wanna sell it, might help people too, you know? Um, John says I'm sorry, Calibri. "Now the young ones wear those pants way, way too low. Their undies are showing." My neighbor, 32 years old. It's so funny. They borrowed my crock pot, and, so he brought it over, and, yeah, it's, like, below the butt. I mean, come on. It's not even, like, halfway. It's, like, up in front, but, yeah, I don't understand it. Sounds good. John says Cleary says, "I guess the fashion trends are generational, and music has a lot to do with the styles and dressing and hairstyles." You're right. You're right. Debbie says, "Dave used to try to drown me." Oh, how horrifying. That is h oh, that's a super fear of mine. Dave used to drown me in the bathtub many times, tried to. I learned to lock the door. He would tie me up with rope, shoot a BB gun at me. He hit me one day, and mom got it out with a knife. Debbie, wow. Do you even still talk to them? Because some abuse is pretty extreme. That's not just bitch slapping a little too much. Um, my cousin got shot by a BB gun in the stomach, and he went with it's my second cousin. So uh, he went with his dad to go hunting, and they were 3 miles into the woods. And they walked it because you can't drive into it. So 3 miles into the woods, they were planning on camping there and all that. And, yeah, all of a sudden he got real sick and, internal bleeding, things like that. It went into him. He had to go to the hospital and like, he was real bad off. So BB guns are nothing to laugh at. Oh, no way. Mia says, "Yes, it surely does, Cape Flyer." And Debbie says, "No way." Mia says, "That's good. John, you are moving right along with your projects. How'd the skates turn out?" I'd love to see those. And we got some more people joining in. Feel free to comment when you would like or ask any questions. I'm good at going through different stories at the same time because I'd like everybody to get some help. It's so funny when I say that people log off, like, she can see me. Your secret's cool with me. Oh, Melissa. Hi, Melissa. Good to have you here. How's your day going? I was thinking about you after I logged off yesterday, and I'm trying to remember. Um, was it you that said that you were struggling? Somebody was struggling with borderline, and I think I got you mixed up. And I want to make sure that we help you with what you're going through. And I just want to make sure because I'm like, I think I misspoke yesterday. So, how's it going with you, Melissa? Mia says, "Debbie, so sorry that you had to endure such torture." And that's, yeah, got to lead to some CPTSD. How are you around water now? Are you able to do that? I used to have drowning nightmares of my sisters, recurrent dreams. And I don't know what triggered that, but I always had a fear is two different drownings scenarios. So we're glad you're here. Mia says hello. Mia says, "Debbie, so sorry to hear that." John, years ago, my friend aimed a BB gun at me, and I went to push it away, and it fired into my middle finger. I got it out, but we stopped being friends after that. Yep, at least you got to flip them off. Look what you did. um, yeah, it's not safe, and that's the thing. Debbie says he would touch all my pressure points until I screamed. He would hold me upside down and bang my head on the floor. I'm okay now for pools. And did you tell your parents? Did your parents like how? What's your brother like now in adult life? Is he on the straight and narrow now, or is he aggressive and starts bar fights? Melissa says, "How you guys to regain your faith after experience narcissistic abuse?" Um, put I know sometimes I did a video that you might wanna see on if you type in the word God, it should pull it up, on my channel, um, because some of us are mad at God, and, to regain our faith when we're mad at God, it's kinda like, we feel betrayed, and sometimes I did I tell you guys I think I did, the Chinese, farmer. It's a story that is pretty cool, and I'm not gonna have it exact because 'cause I'm not reading it, but it's this farmer I'm gonna change it, it's gonna be a little bit different, but the idea is still the same, that, you know, um how does it start out? Something about I don't know, let's say the family farm burnt down and or well, there's a gist where, the son ends up, breaking his leg, and they're like, "Oh, that's terrible." And then there's a draft, so he can't go to war. And so that was a blessing that he didn't have to go to war. That yes, he was disabled for a little bit, but he didn't have to go to this terrible war. And then he gets better, and then something else happens. Um, and it turns out to be a blessing, because at first they're like, "That's terrible," and then it turns out to be a blessing, and then something bad happens, and they're like, "Oh, that's really bad," but then it turns into a blessing. That sometimes, you know, uh like, this is a terrible kinda, poor timing on my part, but let's say I didn't get into Michigan State University, and I'm like, "Man, that sucks. That sucks, that's where I wanted to go," but then they had that school shooting, so it could have been a blessing even though I thought it sucked. So sometimes with our narcissist, maybe it was a blessing somehow that it ended, because it could have gone, down a different path. I told you about that one boyfriend, kinda dated him. He wasn't boyfriend, but this one guy I dated, and he murdered his girlfriend. So, you know, should I be mad at God that we broke up? Because I was, but he murdered somebody. That could have been me. So sometimes we don't see the blessings. We don't know that our breakup or our discard or us leaving them was God protecting us. So if we can give God a little grace and go back to him. I know for me going to church, I'm going to church Sunday. I haven't been in a while. I'm going to church Sunday. Last time I went was probably, well, I did go with my daughter a couple times when I visited in Tennessee, but I went with my dad, and it was at like a low time. Uh, I was struggling, and it hurt. Because of the message. The message was like, God is there for you, ask and you shall receive. And I'm like, what the frick? I wasn't feeling it. I was not feeling that message that day, and I almost wanted to like, my eyes teared up. I was so pissed off that we can be pissed at God, but we don't know that sometimes it is a blessing. So, I'll let you know how Sunday goes. I feel, um, good about going back, reconnecting with my faith, um, because it can help you, you know? And I asked my brother one time, this is kinda, cool. He's very religious, was like a youth pastor for a while, and, did a lot of things for the church, but I said, "How come everything works out for you? Why is God so nice to you and, not so nice to me?" And he's like, "Well, I visit him more." And, I kinda thought that was, like, a really good comeback. Like, if you think about it, if you go see your parents a lot, they're gonna help you out, and it's like, "Oh, I don't put my part in." So, um, I'll scroll up. I went on a little tangent for a while. So yeah, I'm glad you guys, helped out with, that. So John's saying hey to Melissa, and Debbie says they yelled at him. He's okay. He's a grandpa. I feel he doesn't know how to interact with them. Yeah. Huh. So Mia is responding with constant prayer. Melissa, constant praying. And if we don't want God to give up on us, he won't. But we can't give up on him either. That we have to be open to his love. And sometimes we close it off. And we're closing off blessings when we do that. John says, "Oh, the skates are done, except I have to buy more tape to decorate the second skate. They work good. Can't wait." You're gonna have to somehow do a YouTube video so we can see it. I would love to see that. You should do that too. Oh, get a patent first before you share your patent it first. We're gonna make you some money, John. Be careful. Kalibi said, make sure because people will copy. Uh, Kalibi says, I have totally connected to my creator. I am more diligent in my prayers. I take my prayers more seriously these days. Yeah, because sometimes we can uh, haphazard scatter our prayers. God, please let me be a teacher, and please let me be a stay-at-home mom, and please let me. It's like, what is it that you want? you know, um, figure out what you want. Um, so make that your first prayer. What do I want? Um, because sometimes we contradict ourselves, and God's trying to give us things, and then we're like, He doesn't fulfill my wishes, and we're like, you know, um, but consistency is good. Like Mia said, be consistent with it. Debbie says, I tend to talk to God all day. I do too. I do. And make sure you thank Him. There's times I stop and I'm like, thank you. I recognize that was from you. There are things that you will recognize are blessings. Um, Mia says that's great. John, I'm happy to hear that you finished them. John's giving that big thumbs up. You guys can do that too for me. Help with that algorithm, grow the channel so we can have 5,000 subscribers and meet in person. Kalibi says I feel, and Kalibi, we're gonna have some of you guys kind of create the food list. We'll go on a cruise or something. Create a food list. Calibri says I feel more at peace, calm, and clear-headed after my prayers and show gratitude for all the blessings. Yeah, you got to be grateful, not just accept. Don says, I feel blessed that I had April Hamster. She was the best. I really miss her though. Cried a little today. And it's a fresh grief, you know. Um, that's that's normal. It's okay to cry. Just like I did that video with the head and the rumination. Our tears are our pain coming out. So it's good instead of holding it in. Um, Debbie says, I told the narc about my abuse. I told him if he ever hurt me, I'd hurt him twice as hard. LOL. Yep. So moving forward, just tell them they can't hurt you because you're scaring them. And that's the thing too. Somebody said that, and I know you're kind of joking about it, but be careful because sometimes people will, and you're saying it from a part of trauma, which I understand. But when we heal from our trauma, we can give other people a um, healthier start. Because if it started with me and somebody said, I'll hurt you twice as bad, it's like, whoa. It sets a stage for uh, a downward spiral. And sometimes we don't even realize it. You could say, don't ever touch me. I will not accept that. But when you word it back like that, be careful on that because it's going to affect them. Even though they're probably like, whatever, I could take you out. um, so just something I wanted to address. And Kalibi says, I feel more at peace, calm, and clear headed after my prayers and show gratitude for all the blessings. And when he says, I feel more clear headed, sometimes even it's almost like talk therapy, even if it's silent in your head, where you can say, God, I'm struggling. I don't know where I'm going in life or whatever your prayer is. And you're like, I am struggling. I am confused. And you can start realizing what the issues are instead of I'm just crying all day. Why am I crying? I'm just crying. Helps you focus on what you need. Um, John says, I feel blessed that I had April Hamster. She was the best. I really miss her. And she's a cutie. I saw her video. He did a tribute to her. Super adorable. Debbie says, I told the narc. Yes. Um, Mia says, that's just the best thing, Debbie, all day, every day. My life depends on it. Without prayer, I'm in a fog. Yep. Kind of helps with some clarity. Just like Cleve said, I have a clearer head. And John says, my gerbils and the others say hi to everyone. Hello. And where's Dixie do? Dixie, she's so passed out. Kalibi says, hugs to you, John. I know how it feels losing our furry friends. Think good things about them crossing that rainbow bridge. That is true. There's something beautiful on the other side. John says, that's why I made the tribute video. I've done that for all my pets who've passed on. And, you know, they're out in cyberspace forever. They will never be forgotten. Um, Mia says, K Flyer, exactly my sentiments. Mia says, hello, John babies, all the little furry friends. Mia says, K Flyer, only way to start and end the day is constant prayer in between. Yeah, he's there for us, you know. Melissa says, you guys have strong faith. Um, Melissa says narcissists are immature people. Yeah, and that's why I did that video on the emotional state of them. Sometimes they just get silly, haphazard, terrible impulse control, games, lies, and you're right, Melissa. And we have to have faith within ourselves. When we fill ourselves with our faith, it gives us something to pull um, from our own internal faith on who we are. That we're strong people. We're going to get through it. And so like I said, why do bad things happen to good people? Just like that breakup. Why did I break up with that guy? I was spared. I was spared. Even though I was sad, I was spared from more devastation. And Debbie says, I'm now alone for the next 7 days. My daughter and her boyfriend of 7 years are flying to Florida for the Daytona 500 in memory of my husband, Art, and her dad. He loved NASCAR. And that's got to be, s- so, are you ready for that? You're not alone. We'll be doing some live chats. So, are you good with being alone? Um, Sometimes that's hard. Sometimes we're used to a routine, or sometimes we're like, thank goodness. So, how are you feeling with that? Arrested development. Good way to put it, Melissa. John says, children they are, said Yoda. Yoda is wise. He is wise. How old is Yoda? Is he wise beyond his? I know baby Yoda's young. Is he supposed to be like millions of years old? I have the driest. Let's see if I have chapstick in my coat. Because which coat? I hope so. Um, my lips get so dry from talking all day long. Oh no, I'm about to have a panic attack. No chapstick. Oh, yes. Yay, I don't have to log off. Oh shoot. Look at this. It's empty. That's okay. What happened? Hopefully there's enough. My lips are so chapped. There we go. All right. I had a friend, she gave me for Easter one year, she gave me 15 chapsticks. And it lasted a week. Man, sorry guys. I hate dried lips. Um, so let me scroll down, see if you guys have said anything. But yeah, as far as how do we reconnect with our faith, we have to start. That's the first thing. We have to start. We can keep pushing it off, or realize, are we better off with faith? There's a lot of good things in fellowship. You can surround yourself with some good, like-minded people. Um, pick your church wisely. Make sure it's the right religion for you. Uh, and make sure it's the right kind of church. I like the contemporary. What kind of churches do you guys like? I went to when I was growing up. We went to they they give in life. They gave up on life. They give in life. They are you talking about the narcissist? Ah, I'm not sure if you mean like a narcissist that they do give, because they can give, but they gave up on life, that they feel screwed. Um, Debbie says, "Yes, I'm good. The dog is at spa paw." Oh, some spa paw and tails. That's hard. Spa paw and tails. Until they come back, I'm going to work on 2 cookbooks for my daughter and future daughter-in-law. That's cool. We have a family one, and I had for my American Spirit cheerleaders, I had a business, and we made our own cookbook. I had a program that did that, and we used that as a fundraiser. American Spirit Cheerleaders Cookbook. So I have that published. Don't go and try and find it. It's a local publication. I mean, that was one thing that was nice. That I've been to some churches, they do that where they purchase those print those cookbooks for purchase, and I've got some good recipes. So yes, says Melissa. Um, Okay, cool. And Mia says, Melissa, yes, they are very immature and vindictive as well. Thank you for bringing that up. I forget about that at times. Yes, that's why when you want to seek revenge, um, on them, be careful with that because they come back so much harder, and you're just going to hurt yourself more. You're going to give yourself more struggles. Melissa says they feel really screwed in life. They do. Oh, I have a hole in my shirt. Uh-oh. So funny, I'm a seamstress and I'll probably throw this out instead of fix it. Maybe I'll fix it. I don't know. I should fix it. It takes 2 seconds. It's so funny. I'll fix everybody else's stuff. They'll drop it off, and me is like, nah. Gives me an excuse to go buy something new. Yes, Melissa, they do feel really screwed in life. The poor pity me. That's why they'll play the victim. And we're all screwed in life, you know. We all have our trials and tribulations, but like I said, sometimes they're blessings. It's um, a bend in the road to protect us. And there's times we screw up, and that's meant for us to learn. There are times we need to learn a lesson. Um, Mia says, you are welcome, Cynthia. How to deal with the vindictiveness. Don't entertain it. Don't encourage it. And I'm talking that way, not at you. It's just there are people who are like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And um, it's just fueling the fire, you know. Uh and don't allow those thoughts. Oh, how to deal with their vindictiveness. Protect yourself. Um, you know, the more you interact with them, the more chance and risk. It depends on the situation. So it's really hard to give a blanket statement on how to deal with the vindictiveness. Um, up your self-esteem. Are they gonna say horrible things to you? But be careful, they could call your work and say terrible things about you. So sometimes we have to be proactive on things. You know, sometimes we got to warn people. You might be hearing from him, but we're going through a divorce and he might say some things. I'd like you to talk to me before making a decision on whatever he says, because sometimes when they get to the person first, I told that story about this teacher I had. It was April Fools, and people gave this April Fool's Day joke where they're like, oh, she's pregnant. And she didn't look pregnant. She looks, kind of like my body style, maybe a little bloated in the belly, but didn't look pregnant. And it stuck in my head. And a couple hours went by and they're like, oh, we're just kidding, April Fools. But it stuck in my head. And I was tempted to say congratulations. She didn't look pregnant, but my mind absorbed that thought. Um, and I knew she wasn't. They did say it's a joke, and I couldn't get that. I accepted it as a truth because I was um, unarmed, or I wasn't defensive to taking that in because I thought it would be real. Um, uh, so why did I say all that? Because I got chapstick on and I can say as much as I want now. Um, so, there's a point to that, guy. Sorry. Um, it'll come to me. It was a good point. I'm sorry. Still dealing with COVID brain. Debbie says, when the narc said, I'm not what he was looking for and he wasn't attracted to me. So he meant that. I told him his loss. Um, that's meant to hurt you, to push you away. Uh, I've seen that, like, even just talking to different guys, you know, how long were you with that before how long were you with them? Uh, and it is his loss. Um, it's very common where you hear that I never loved you, or like you said, you're not what he was looking for. We do have to be realistic. I don't know your person. Uh, so there are times when, like I got a crush on my neighbor. He's not what I'm looking for, and he knows it. Um, that I'm not gonna entertain it. Now it's different if I date him for a long time and, um, when you know ahead of time, but if you're interacting with them, a narcissist will use you for, sex or whatever, fooling you into a relationship. We also have to be careful that, um, if we had sex with them before the relationship developed, uh, do we confuse sex for love? Um, but a lot of times, if you went on a couple dates, they were attracted to you, and if they lived with you, then they either fooled you into thinking, the future faking. And yeah, Debbie, look where I'm going Sunday. Debbie says, "Oh, I read that God puts the narcissist in our life so we come to him." And yeah, I can see that. Um, it makes sense because a lot of times we got to hit rock bottom before we change. And Calibris, and this is the thing that makes me mad though, as far as that statement. I was in the choir at church. I went to Wednesday nights and Sundays, and I met my narcissist when I was 17, and that's when I was like pretty high up in the church. And it was interesting. We had a different youth pastor that came, and uh, he kind of set me off. He kind of pushed me away from the church. Um, that I was the only one who really reached out to this boy, like, welcome to the youth group, and good to have you here. And if you want to chat or something, just give me a call. Or I'm sorry, I didn't do that. I just said welcome. I was the only one. Hey, where are you from? And welcome to the church. And nobody else really welcomed him. And then the youth pastor said, "Hey, we got this new kid. Anybody want to reach out to him?" And I said, "Yeah, I can reach out to him." And he's like, "Well, I want a boy to reach out to him." And I'm like, "I'm the only one who talked to him." And I wasn't trying to date him or anything like that. But I'm like, to me, it didn't make sense. And I get it, but it set me off. Like, I'm the one that was friendly to him, and you want a stranger to reach out to him instead of somebody he can connect with, somebody who cared about him. And it's like, what are you thinking? Um, you know, but he was maybe a little more old fashioned to where, boys with boys and girls with girls as far as friends. Um, so I want to hear a little bit more about your story before I go on with that, Debbie. Kalibi says, once I walked away from the narcs, I was more detached emotionally to the point of being indifferent. I avoid them. Yeah, once you can set them aside, it does get easier, and then the feelings fade. The feelings go, instead of hate or loss, to being indifferent. Debbie says, "You're right." I'm going to read it again, even though I already read it. That God puts the narcissist in our life so we can come to Him. And so that's when I went through the flip flop. The narcissist came in my life, and I did. Um, it was a pastor, youth pastor, and then also that too. And it's kind of like uh, faith, you got to get back to your faith. Um, Mia says, K Flyer, I do not have the strength. I moved far away. Just do not want to deal with them anymore. Yeah, it's draining. It is draining. And I'll catch up. I see you guys. Life is full of ironies. They try to kill you with your soul, spirit, heart, says Melissa. You're right. You're right. And John says, my narc said she stopped caring years ago. And you're saying caring about life, right? You didn't know her for years. Is that correct? Calibri says, with the cost of housing here in Seattle, it's impossible just to pack up my bags and move. I really have to plan my move carefully. And don't put off that plan. I need to take my own advice because I would like to buy a house, and I'm kind of putting off packing, weeding through things. If you guys are a hoarder, that's a sign of not wanting to let go of things. So Cynthia Michelle needs to start clearing things out, clearing her head, clearing her house, and you know, um, it's good. It's good to do that. Mia says, K Flyer, some say it's wrong. However, once I am done, I am done. Um, if it's abusive, this is where I go with that is because I'm kind of struggling with society being so quick to discard. But yeah, if you've given them a chance and it's not changing, or even if it's just not working for you, it is okay to move on. I still think that we should respectfully tell people what's going on. Like, um, I appreciate the time that we had, but it's time we move on. Um, Otherwise, they're going to have some trauma too, and they're going to react to that. And they might want to be vindictive. Just respect. If we want respect, we have to be able to give it too. Doesn't mean we have to stay in the relationship. Um, and Kalibi says, yeah. Where do you want to go, Kalibi? Any plans? Debbie says, he says that off and on. I can't count that high, but yet we saw each other and still talked. I told him, say it one more time and you're going to the moon. Yeah. And there's times you have to lay down a lot, like enough. Exactly. Because you can only deal with it so much. Kalibi says, Mia, I feel the same. I am totally done with these idiots for all. Um, Mia says, yes, 100% true. Melissa, and they will if you continue. It only gets worse. Please believe me when I tell you. Perfectly said. You are completely right. And with all the other people in the room, feel free to join in. Good with dealing with different stories at the same time. Want to make sure everybody gets equal time if you need something or want to say something. Um, Mia says, K Flyer, Pennsylvania is not the West Coast, but it's cheap to live here. Not a bad life. So, yeah, Pennsylvania is really nice. It is really nice. Debbie says, I was in the choir with my mom and sister in law, president of the youth group Sunday school for the nursery. I did that too. That was fun. And then I went to grown up church and got hot chocolate, double chocolate donuts. um, that's great though. And it can be uplifting if you go to the right church. That's why I like the contemporary or upbeat. That lifts me up. Other people need something to calm them. So just go to the right church. Calibri says narcs are all over. One cannot avoid their existence. It's a matter of knowledge on how to navigate around them. They are everywhere. You are correct. Mia says, Cynthia, I used to be the kind of person that forgive. However, I let in too much hurt and pain keep punching me in the head that I finally had to say enough and just cut people off. 3 chances and done. Yeah. So, and also depending on how severe the abuse is, if they just, oh, sorry, I forgot we were having lunch today, but um, if they're, physically abusing you, I wouldn't give them 3 chances, but um, I think that's a pretty good rule. And yeah. We have to know who we are too, you know, how strong we are, what we deserve. And, um, was it a actual mistake or was it purposeful? I think purposely hurting you. Do they need 3 chances that they're purposely trying to hurt you? Like, hey, fat ass, you look like shit today. You ready for lunch? Um, And they mean to hurt you, as opposed to, "Ooh, I like that dress, but your hips look a little big," where they're trying to say it kindly. And there's all different examples, but that's just depends on who you are, what's gonna hurt you. Um, so yeah, protect yourself. And Debbie says, I'm straightforward and don't beat around the bush. I'm a super empath thing. And we have to be careful where we don't give too much, where we're not too empathetic, because that's also a survival thing. That's also saying something about us to where we're putting down our boundaries or giving too much because we want to be liked. And I kind of fall into that too, though. Um, I'll go on for a little bit longer for some reason. I'm exhausted even though I slept till 4:40. Um, my eyes are getting dizzy, so I don't know why I'm so tired. Uh, I don't know. So Mia says, "Debbie, I am getting there. I am an empath. Too much fault to forgiving. I am." I get it. Mia says, "Empath to fault, I mean." Yeah, and that's what I was just saying is same here. You give too much, you know. Debbie says, "Mia, you will get there and grow your wings." Exactly. And then you'll be flying high, a soul survivor, soaring, a soaring soul survivor. Kalibi says, "I didn't even know that I was involved with two narcs in my past relationships. Now that I have knowledge on how to identify them, I am thankful of the narc experiences I've had lately." Oh, thankful. Experiences that opened my eyes and also made me closer to God. So, you were asking, I believe it was Melissa, how do you I think so. I get Melissa and Debbie. I did that last night. That's why I wanted to address that today. I got the two of you, your names mixed up. And so I thought about you guys after we logged off. But identifying with or coming back to God. So this is part of it, you know. Um, so Calibri, thank you for that. Mia says, "I do not like to hurt anyone, even if they are hurting me. I just want to heal and learn not to be walked on. People think I am dumb because I am too nice." I get it, yeah. And I relate it to when we're dealing with narcissists. It's probably part of the reason I'm so exhausted is school. We had school Thursday, yesterday, and the kids just would not settle down. And I was like, "Stop, sit down." I'm like, "You need to leave my class. You need to go in the hallway." I was kind of like bitch mode and silent. They followed, they listened. And I'm like, the kids like walk all over you if you're nice. And I don't like going into bitch mode. And I gotta be careful not to like emotionally traumatize the kids. But where I'm like, enough. And sometimes when we are too nice, the narcissists are like children, and they're not going to press us. "Teacher Cynthia, we really like it if you stay in your seat." They're like, "What the fuck?" But if you're like, "Sit down, do not move," you cannot talk. It's like deer in the headlight, like, "Oh, I need to follow directions." Um, so I know because I'm pausing too long and I don't want to keep you guys because my eyes aren't reconnecting like they usually do to where I need to be. John says, "I am tired too, Cynthia." It's okay. I am too. If you are tired, it's okay. I am too. Yeah, so I'll log off in just a little bit, but thank you. Yeah, normally my eyes go exactly to where I need to be. Mia says, "K Flyer, yes, the word of wisdom helped me because I felt it was me, but I learned that the good book has all the answers." And, there's shortcuts too. Maybe I should do that for you guys. I tried not to make this too religious because I want to, but I don't know. Um, I want to be able to help everybody. Uh, and some people shy away from that. Uh, and it's a tough balance, but I might dedicate something where there are certain Bible verses that you can go to based on what you're struggling with. So instead of I started reading from the beginning of the Bible. So and so beget, so and so beget, so and so, and I'm like, you know, but that's important that they have that in the Bible. My dad did a lot of the proof with that kind of stuff where it's important that you can trace things back. But um, John says, "Make coffee and I'm done working for tonight." I feel ya. Debbie says the narc has been pretty good to me on a whole, but I did do some narc injury, and that's where my silent treatments are. Yeah. And do you think your person is a full blown narcissist or just hard to deal with? Because we all have narcissistic traits. Um, you have a Bible dictionary. That's good. Mia says, "Cynthia, thank you for another great live. Please have a great night's sleep. May it be peaceful and restful. Love you so, so much." Love you too. And night. Good night. Have a great day tomorrow. You guys too. You want to do 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? Oh, okay. Full blown. Yep. Uh, John says, I've read the Bible front to back years ago. Ooh, so we shall talk about that. But yeah, I am getting dizzy. So Mia says, good night to each and every one of you. Please stay blessed and safe and warm. John says, I'm hoping everyone has a good night's sleep. Take care. Yes, love you guys. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sound good to you? Um, for tomorrow, if I believe you're Central Time, 9 o'clock tomorrow would be 8 o'clock if you're Central Time, like Tennessee. Uh, is Kentucky Central Time? If you're on the same time as Tennessee, it's an hour earlier. So I think you're Central, if I remember. So 8 o'clock for you in Central Time. So I love you guys. See you soon. And please share, like, and subscribe. Mia says, love you too. See you tomorrow, sunshine. I like that you call me that. I love that. Kalibi says, have a restful evening, everyone. And restful, Cynthia. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for joining. See you soon. Bye. Bye, Debbie. Got it. Have a good night. Bye.